Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the LRW 2020 Virtual Conference Yoga and Meditation session. I'm Patricia Baswell, Events Chair at LRW and User Experience Manager at Ytronics. So before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items. Please note that we can't see or hear you, so do use the questions pane in your control panel. And also feel free to use the audio pane to get the phone dial-in details if you prefer. During our session, please be considerate and respectful of other participants and behave in a way that creates a safe and welcoming environment. So we are also recording this session and it will be made available to all participants after the conference. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Catherine Banks, President and General Counsel of the Maryland and Delaware Railroad Company, Vice President and General Counsel of Chesapeake and Delaware, and Certified Yoga Instructor this morning. Catherine, why don't you come up and say hello? There you are.
Can you guys see me and hear me?
Yes, yes we can. All right.
Okay, well, thank you, Patricia, for that introduction. I'm very happy to be here with you all this morning. I don't get to do this much anymore because the railroad keeps me very busy, so I was really excited to have this opportunity. So just to give you a little sense of the format today, I'm going to talk to you for just a few minutes to give you an introduction to some of the things that we're going to be working on today, and then we'll move through about 30 minutes of yoga and then about 10 minutes or so of a guided relaxation meditation at the end, and then we may have some time for Q&A at the end, but if we don't, then you can always, feel free to reach out to me via email with anything that you'd like to talk about. So the thing that I wanted to focus this session on was how to thrive during a global pandemic. And obviously none of us have ever lived through any of this before. So I don't have any, firsthand experience to base my advice on, but I do believe that there are some tools that we have available to us that can help us to build an inner resilience, an inner sense of peace and calm, so that we can continue to do well even in times of uncertainty and stress and difficulty like what we're experiencing this year. So one of those things, one of those tools is cultivating presence. And so I'll ask you to think back on some of the conversations that you've had recently with your friends and colleagues and family members. And I suspect that most, if not all of those conversations at some point have turned to something along the lines of, gosh, I can't wait until this is over. When this is finally over, then we can get back to doing X, Y, and Z. And of course, that is completely normal. We are all mourning the loss of our pre-pandemic lives and have been for 7 months now. And of course, we don't only do this during a pandemic, we do it all the time. We think, once I get this promotion, then I'll be satisfied. Or once I, buy this house, or once I have this relationship, or whatever it is, then I'll be happy. And what that kind of thinking does is that it takes us completely out of the present, because we're either reminiscing about the past or dreaming about the future. And we really can't expect to thrive in the present if we aren't living in the present. And the other really important thing, and also incredibly difficult thing, is practicing non-attachment. So when we talk about attachment in this context, we're talking about our attempts to constantly control our experience of life. We grasp onto everything that feels pleasurable, pleasant, happy, that makes us feel good, and we push away and try to avoid at all costs anything that makes us feel fearful or nervous or that makes us uncomfortable or that is unpleasant. And again, that is a very natural thing, but unfortunately, what that does is create a lot of suffering internally, because the world and life has a way of just unfolding despite our attempts to control it, no matter how well intentioned they are. And so by practicing non-attachment, we are letting go of the need to be in constant control. And we simply accept things the way that they are. And I'm not talking about, wallowing here. This is not a pity party. That's its own kind of attachment. But we are simply letting things be without grasping and without aversion, simply dwelling in equanimity. And of course, that's a lot easier said than done. But the physical yoga practice is a great way to cultivate both of those things. Yoga forces us to be present because we're going through a series of physical movements. And if we aren't, embodied in the here and now, we are not going to be able to balance on one leg for very long, or, do a headstand or whatever it may be. And yoga is also a great way to practice non-attachment, because at some point, inevitably in your practice, and this probably will happen today, your body won't quite do what you want it to do. Maybe you'll fall out of that balancing pose, or you won't be quite flexible enough to do something. And that little tinge of annoyance that you feel when that happens, that is your attachment raising its little hand. And so in that moment, you have an opportunity to either dwell in the discomfort or just let it go and move on to the next pose. And so as we practice these concepts in our yoga practice in these seemingly insignificant little ways, we begin to get better at them and they begin to feel more natural. And so then when we go out into the world and something really triggers us, we are able to apply them a lot more easily and a lot more effectively. It's just like any other muscle, right? You have to train it, and the more that you train it, the stronger that it gets and the easier things become. For example, I suspect the first time that you ever tried to run a mile was a lot harder than, the 10th time or the 20th time. So that's the same idea. This is not something where you're gonna, do this session and then you're enlightened, but it's a practice, a constant practice, probably a lifelong practice. So I'm looking forward to sharing it with you today. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with a little movement. If you did want to follow along on the Spotify playlist, feel free to hit play now. I suggest maybe doing it on your phone or some other device so that you can control the volume easily, independently of this. And so we are just going to get started in a child's pose today. So you'll come down onto your hands and knees, and you'll let the knees come a little bit wider apart than your hips. And then just drop your hips back down onto your heels. Let the belly drape down across the legs, and let the forehead rest on your mat. And the arms can be out in front of you, or they can be down along your sides, whatever feels more comfortable for you. And if that's really intense, if your hips are really tight, you can always place a pillow under your forehead. And then let the eyes close here. And just begin to focus your awareness on your breath. Not doing anything to change it, just noticing how the breath moves through the body. As we move through today's practice, make sure to listen to your body. So if there's anything that I ask you to do that doesn't feel right, or certainly anything that causes you any kind of discomfort or pain, please don't do it. This is not intended to be an extremely strenuous practice today, so there's no reason to push yourself to your limit. You're always free to rest here in child's pose. You're always free to take a break. You're always free to grab water. This is your practice and you know your body best. And so as we're cultivating that breath awareness, just take a little scan of the body and notice how you're feeling today. Notice if there's any places of injury or soreness or pain, little places that need some extra love and care. And then commit yourself to honoring that. And then we'll just take 3 nice deep breaths together to begin. So inhale in through your nose, hold at the top, and then open mouth, exhale. Good, again, inhaling in through the nose, and open mouth, exhale. And then one more breath in, and let it go. Good. So from here, just begin to bring yourself up and just sit back onto your heels for a moment. If this isn't comfortable, you can always come into a cross-legged position. And we'll just raise the arms up, reach nice and high. And then bring the left hand down to the ground, reach the right arm across, find a nice side stretch. Maybe turn your gaze underneath the top arm. And then inhale it back up to center. Bring the right hand down, reach the left arm across. Inhaling back to center, bring the hands down through your heart, and we'll come down onto our hands and knees and move through a few rounds of cat-cow breath here. So the hands will stack right under the hips. I'm sorry, the hands will stack right under the shoulders. The knees will stack right under the hips. On your inhale, the belly will drop, the chest lifts and the tail lifts. And on the exhale, you round, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Inhale, arch the back, belly drops. Exhale, rounding like a big Halloween cat. Inhaling, exhaling. A couple more times, just moving through this with the pace of your own breath, starting to warm up the spine a little bit. Good, and then after your next round, come back to a neutral spine. Walk the hands forward just a little bit, spread the fingers out nice and wide, press down through all 10 of your finger pads, and then curl your toes under, lift the knees, straighten the legs, come into your first downward facing dog. To me, it always feels really great in this first down dog of the day to paddle out the feet. Maybe dip one shoulder down and then the other. And then we'll come to stillness for a few breaths in our down dog, reaching the heels towards the mat. They may not touch, and that's okay, but that's the direction that you're moving in. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Think about pressing the belly back towards the thighs, and the tailbone lifts up towards the ceiling. Good, and then look forward and slowly walk your feet up between your hands. When you get there, find a soft bend in the knees and find a ragdoll. Just let your torso drape down on your legs. Maybe you take opposite elbows, maybe the arms just hang. Maybe swaying back and forth a little bit, let the head and neck relax. And then take the hands to the knees and slowly roll yourself up to standing. Good, bring the feet together, toes touch. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward, hands to the ground. Inhale, lengthen halfway, press the palms into the shins and lengthen the crown of your head forward. And then plant your hands and step the left foot back into a low lunge. Plant the left hand, sweep the right arm up, twist. Maybe your gaze follows up to your right thumb. If that doesn't feel good on your neck, you can always keep the gaze on the ground. Press out through your back heel. And then bring that right hand to the ground. Drop the left knee. Inhale, rise up, arms up along your ears. Sink the hips down low. Lift your chest. Maybe find a little back bend here in your low crescent lunge. Bring the hands back to the ground, curl the back toes, step back, downward facing dog. Take a breath in and come forward into plank pose. And then on the exhale, move back to down dog. Inhale forward to high plank. Exhale, down dog. Inhale forward to high plank. This time, exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. Uncurl the toes so the tops of the feet are resting on your mat. Press down into your palms. Inhale, lift the chest, cobra. Just a little lift. This doesn't have to be super intense. And fold. 2 more times, just like that. Inhale, chest lifts. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Curl the toes back under. Press yourself back into downward facing dog. On your inhale, step that left foot forward into your low lunge. Plant the right hand, sweep the left arm up, twist. Again, pressing out through the back heel here. Lengthen across your chest. Bring the left hand down, drop the right knee, finding that low crescent. Inhale the arms up along the ears. Sink the hips forward and down. Relax the shoulders. Bring the hands to the ground and step the right foot forward to meet the left. Fold all the way forward. Inhale, rise up to standing, arms up, gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Great, so we'll move through a little standing sequence and we'll start off with a balancing pose. So first, really ground down into your right foot. Find all 4 corners of that right foot. And then draw the left knee up into the chest and bring the hands together at your heart. We're gonna fold our torso forward, hinge forward, and extend the left leg back. It stays lifted this time, finding a warrior 3, making a T shape with your body. And if you have to bring the hands down to the ground for balance, that's okay. Flex the foot, toes point down to the ground. Really rooting through the right leg. And then with control, we'll bring the left foot to the ground, finding a high lunge. And take a moment to adjust your stance. So you want to be on little railroad tracks here. You want some space between the feet. And then sink down nice and low into the lunge. Reach the arms up, full crescent lunge. Relax the shoulders. Try to straighten that left leg as best as you can. Spin the left heel down to the ground. Take the hands to the hips. Toe heel the right foot towards the center of the mat so that the right heel intersects the arch of the back foot. Reach the arms out wide. Drop into your warrior 2. Bend the front leg. Make sure that right knee is tracking over the middle toe of your right foot. And then the gaze can go out over the right fingertips. Revolving our warrior, the left hand comes down to the left side, flip the right hand, sweep it up and over. And then rising back up to warrior two, straighten the front leg. Toe heel the back foot in once or twice so you have a slightly shorter stance. Reach the arms back out. Reach forward with the right arm like you're reaching across a countertop, and then bring that hand down to the inside of the right leg. Left arm reaches up to the sky, triangle pose. Really think about creating lots of length across the front of the body. Reach in both directions. Inhale, rise back up. Hands to the hips, turn the right toes in. So you're just slightly pigeon-toed and both feet are parallel to the short edges of the mat. Hinge your body forward, plant the hands on the ground, bend the knees as much as you need to here. And then just fold forward if that's accessible. And we'll find a little twist here. So you're going to place the right hand right underneath your face, fingers spread wide. The left hand will come to your left hip. And then you'll turn that elbow up towards the ceiling. And then maybe extend the left arm, reaching upwards. Maybe the gaze follows. Keep some weight in your heels. Nice big twist. Bring that hand back down to the ground. We'll switch to the other side. The left hand will be under the face. Right hand comes to the right hip. Turn the elbow up towards the ceiling. And then reach the arm up. Twists are so wonderful and detoxifying. We're just wringing out all our internal organs. Good. Bring the hand back down. Take the hands to the hips and slowly rise back up. Turn the right toes forward. Bring the hands down to either side of the right foot and then step it back, downward dog. Inhale, come forward into high plank. Drop the knees. Keep the elbows squeezed into the sides. Lower halfway down into a chaturanga push-up. Inhale, lift the chest for cobra or upward facing dog. And then come back into your downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. Again, just checking in with your body. It's always amazing to me how the body changes over the course of a practice as we make more space. And then look forward and walk or step your feet up between your hands. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. So we'll just move into the second side of that little sequence. So again, start by really grounding into the left foot. Find that stability. Imagine your left leg rooted into the ground. And then draw the right knee up into the chest. Hands to your heart. Hinge the body forward. Extend the right leg back. Toes point down, warrior three. With control, bring the right foot to the ground, finding your high lunge. Set your stance. Reach the arms up. Sink low into the left side. Press out through the right heel. Try to keep the hips squaring forward. And then we'll drop the right heel, finding our warrior two setup. So again, the front heel is in line with the arch of the back foot. The arms extend to the side, sink low into the left thigh. Relax the shoulders. Stay rooted through the back edge of your back foot. Bring the right hand to the right thigh, left arm sweeps up and over, revolved warrior. Rise back to center, straighten the front leg, toe heel the back foot in once or twice. Reach the left arm across that countertop and then bring it down to the inside of the left leg, right arm reaches up. Lots of length across the body. It's like we're in warrior two here, but we're sideways. Inhale, come back up to center. So this time, I'm going to turn around to face you. You'll turn the toes out to the sides towards the corners of your mat. We're going to find a goddess pose. So you'll sink your hips down. Try to keep the torso upright to begin. And then take the hands to the thighs and we'll move with the breath. Inhale. On the exhale, the right shoulder drops down. Breath in. Exhale, left shoulder. Inhale. Right shoulder. Inhale. Left shoulder. Good. Come back to center. Straighten the legs. And then we'll come back forward, stepping back to downward facing dog. Inhale forward into high plank. And again, lower all the way down to your belly. Extend your arms out to either side in a big T shape. Palms face down. We're going to do a little shoulder stretch here. So you'll roll onto your right side, keeping the right arm extended. And just go as far as you can based on what your shoulder will allow. You can use this back leg, the left leg, as a little kickstand. And you can support yourself with the left hand. Just let the head and neck relax. And then we'll switch to the second side. So roll back onto your belly. Re-extend the left arm, palm face down at shoulder height. Roll onto your left side. Use the leg as a kickstand. And you might be able to roll even further. You might be able to put both feet on the ground. That's not going to work for my shoulders today. One more breath. Good, come forward. And then we'll just come into child's pose for just a moment. And just, again, take inventory here. Checking back in with the breath, noticing that maybe we've made a little bit more space. Maybe we feel a little bit more expansive. Good, from your child's pose, step back up onto your heels. And just drop the heels off to one side. We're just gonna move through a half pigeon. So the right leg will be forward first. The right knee will come right behind the right wrist. And then the right ankle will be behind the left wrist. And if your hips are super open, then this right shin might actually be pretty parallel to the front edge of your mat. But for most of us, it's going to be sort of tucked in a little bit. And then make sure the back leg goes straight out behind you. The top of the foot is on the ground. And then you'll just sink down into your pigeon here. So if this hurts your knee at all, then definitely back out. You can also do this on your back as a figure 4 position. and I'll demonstrate that in just a moment. But for those who are staying here, you can stay lifted, you can come down onto your forearms, or maybe all the way down. And we'll just be here for a few breaths. If you want to take a reclining pigeon, you'll just take the right ankle across the left knee and just draw this left leg in towards your chest. Couple more breaths in our pigeon. And so this is probably pretty intense for most of us. Most of our hips are really tight from sitting, and also, you know, if you're a runner or a cyclist. So maybe your attachment is rising up here because you're like, I just want to get out of this pose. Just notice that without judgment. Okay, so we're just going to switch to the other side, so you can just drop down onto the right hip. Bring the legs forward, give them a little shake. And then we'll come to the left side. So again, the left knee will be right behind the left wrist. Right ankle, left ankle lines up with the right wrist. And then the back leg extends straight out behind you. And then again, just taking this as far as you want. Maybe choosing the reclining version instead if that is a better way to honor your body today. And then just find stillness here. So many of us think of the shoulders and the neck as the place where we store most of our stress. But the hips are actually a place where we store a lot of emotional baggage as well. And so these hip openers are really great for releasing some of that. Just another breath or two. Good, and we'll slowly come out of this. Just drop the hips down to the left, swing the right leg forward, give the legs a little shake. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet together, finding Baddha Konasana, bound ankle pose. So the knees will drop out to the sides here. The diamond shape that you're making can be more compressed or it can be wider. You can bring the feet further away from you if that feels better for you. If your knees are like this, if your knees are really high up, then you can also sit on your bolster if you have it, which we'll get to in a minute, or you can sit on a pillow and you'll probably get a little more out of this pose. And regardless of how you're set up here, you're just going to start to fold your body forward. Think about pressing the knees gently. Don't actually press, but just think about energetically pressing the knees out and down. And then to me, it feels really nice to extend the arms forward. Good. And then we'll rise back up to center. So we'll move into a little bit more of the relaxation part of class now. So if you have the throw blanket or beach pillow that we mentioned in the description, you're going to make a little bolster with that. And if you don't have this, don't worry about it. You can still do everything without one. It's just a nice little extra to have. So I have this yoga blanket here that I folded into a rectangle. And the short edge is about the length of my torso. So this is not exact. It doesn't need to be exact, but just to kind of give you a sense of the scale. And then you're just going to roll it up into a nice little bolster roll, okay? So the first thing that we'll do with this is come down onto our back. Lift the hips and just slide this bolster right under you so it's sitting right at your sacrum, which is the part of your back that's right below your spine, right above your tailbone. It's that flat portion right above your bottom. And you'll just come down onto the bolster. The legs are going to come straight up into the air. And if you don't have a bolster, then just do this laying on the ground. You can still just lift the hips. You can also put like a pillow underneath your hips. So the point of elevating the hips is just that we're doing this little restorative supported version of shoulder stand, which is an inversion. And so we want more of that blood to really flow up towards our heart and our lungs and our brain. So by elevating the hips, we facilitate that. And you can let the arms spread out to the sides. You can bring them to your belly. And then just let the eyes close here for a moment. So this is one of my favorite restorative poses. It's also something that you can do up against a wall. We don't have time for that today, but you would just slide your bottom up to the baseboard and then swing your legs up the wall. And that makes this even more supported. It's a wonderful way to drain some of the lymphatic fluid from our legs and to really oxygenate the brain and the lungs. It's one of my favorite ways to unwind after a long day. And you can, if you do this up against the wall, you can really hang out here for like 10 or 15 or 20 minutes. I highly recommend it. We'll just stay here for a couple more breaths, just starting to wind down now. Coming back to the breath. The breath is our anchor in our yoga practice. So every time we feel our mind wandering, we just return. And then slowly bend the knees, bring the feet back to the ground. Lift the hips and just slide the bolster out from under you, but keep it nearby. We're going to use it again. Draw the knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice little hug. Find a happy baby. Grab the outer edges of your feet and draw the knees down towards the armpits. Just rocking from side to side if that feels good. And then grab a hold just under your knees, and we're going to rock ourselves forwards and backwards a few times, giving our spine a little massage. And then on the next roll forward, you'll come all the way up to a seat. Take your bolster pillow and slide it so that the end of it, the base of it, is right at the bottom of your spine again. And then just extend it out behind you. And again, if you don't have the bolster, then you'll just be coming down into Shavasana, into just laying on your back. If you have the bolster, start to lay down on it so that it supports your spine. And maybe your head is on the bolster, maybe it's off. You can adjust as needed for whatever is more comfortable. And then let the shoulders just drape down across the bolster. So this is giving us a nice little chest opening here. It really counteracts all of that hunching that we do over our computers, probably now more than ever. And the legs can go a couple different ways. So you can bring the feet out wide and let the knees knock into touch. Or you can extend the legs out. This is what I prefer. And really take up some space here. So really let the legs kind of go out to the edges of your mat and maybe let the arms come out wide. This is this version of fish pose, a supported version of fish pose. And so we're going to hang out here for a little bit. So if this is too intense for you, you can always slide that bolster out and put it underneath your knees and just lay flat on your back. And that's also a really nice restorative pose. And we're going to let the eyes close again. And once again, bring the awareness back to the breath. And notice all the stages of a complete breath. From the in-breath to the little pause that follows, then the exhale, and the little pause before taking another breath. Notice the breath as it enters your nose. Notice how that feels on your nostrils every time you inhale. Feel the breath as it passes through your nasal passages and down behind your throat. Notice how your chest and your belly expand and then release on the exhale. So one easy tool for keeping your mind focused on the breath is to actually count the inhales and exhales. And so we'll do this together a few times. So you will breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. You can continue this on your own for a few more breaths. And then gently release that counting and just breathe normally again. And just continue to observe the breath, noticing it flowing in and out of the body. So I'm going to go quiet for a few minutes now. When you find your attention wandering, as it probably will, just come back to the breath. Notice any stray thoughts, but don't dwell on them, simply let them pass. Don't try to make anything happen, just observe. Meditation isn't about some profound spiritual experience or about sitting cross-legged for an hour a day. It's just about finding a few moments of peace and quiet in the midst of a hectic, crazy world that demands so much of us, that glorifies constant productivity and constant busyness. And so it's just about giving yourself that space to just be. So let's start to bring a little bit of movement back into the body. Let's wiggle the fingers and the toes. Roll out the wrists and the ankles. Maybe take a nice big stretch, reach the arms up overhead. And then gently roll yourself off your bolster, keeping the eyes closed for right now. And make your way up to a seated position. So I'll just close with a short little poem. This is by Mary Oliver. It's called On Meditating, Sort of. Meditation, so I've heard, is best accomplished if you entertain a certain strict posture. Frankly, I prefer to just lounge under a tree. So why should I think I could ever be successful? Some days I fall asleep or land in that even better place, half asleep, where the world, spring, summer, autumn, winter, flies through my mind in its hearty ascent and uncompromising descent. So I just lie like that, while distance and time reveal their true attitudes. They never heard of me and never will and never need to. Of course, I wake up finally, thinking, how wonderful to be who I am. Made out of earth and water, my own thoughts, my own fingerprints, all that glorious temporary stuff. Bring the hands to heart center. Take a moment to thank yourself for taking the time out of your busy day to enjoy this practice. Thank your body for carrying you through the practice so beautifully. And thank your fellow students for coming together here virtually and sharing in breath and movement. I thank you all for allowing me to guide your practice today. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much, Catherine. That was amazing. I know I wanted to like fall asleep when you had to close our eyes. I was like, nope, I have to finish up this session. We do have a couple of questions from the audience, if that's okay.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
yeah, so Janice wanted to know, she tried to raise her legs against the wall for 20 minutes, but she can't get her hiney close enough to be comfortable. Do you have any suggestions on how to kind of like move closer?
Yeah, so I can, I guess maybe try to demonstrate over here a little bit, but basically it's easiest if you slide yourself up to the wall sideways like this, and then just sort of cartwheel the legs up, if that makes sense. And again, you know, you can put a bolster underneath you, underneath your hips to kind of raise you up a little bit higher for that. I hope that helps.
Nice. She also asked if you have any recommended moves to stimulate the body while sitting when daytime sleepiness sets in at the office. Like for me, that's like 3 o'clock. It's like snooze time. So yeah.
Absolutely. So I think some things I like to do, kind of that thing we did at the very beginning, just raising the arms and then doing, you know, the side stretches. You can also use your chair as a little bit of leverage for twists. And so I would say for something energizing, it's always going to be better if you're sort of moving with the breath as opposed to a static pose that you hold for a long period of time. So, you know, just like inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and really just like moving with the breath. If you're able to stand up for a few minutes and, you know, this is not really a yoga thing, but like do a few jumping jacks, or there's an exercise called breath of fire that I'm happy to talk about more. Like, I don't want to take too much time today, but it's basically, you know, just a fast inhale and then a fast, forceful exhale with a movement of the arms. And you can probably do that sitting too, but it's basically so that I think is also very energizing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. That's all that we have today. Unfortunately, I just wanted to close with a few items here as well. So please do join us next year, hopefully in person in Indianapolis. And we are also going to be holding this in conjunction with RSI, so save the date, please. And we will be holding our annual membership meeting. I believe the date has changed to November, but do keep an eye out for that. We will send some notice, and please do consider joining LRW. It's a great organization. And lastly, thanks to our corporate sponsors. So thank you again for joining. I hope you could join us at noon, 12 p.m. Central today to award our Woman of the Year presentation. That would be amazing just to see and have you all there. And have a great rest of your morning. Thank you, Catherine.
Bye, thank you.